The gavel's in hand, that can only mean one thing. Welcome to Court Case with me, Judge Jaydee. The guys will be given a hot topic and they have to argue whether for or against about this subject, and then I make the final ruling as to whether or not it is a hot take. This can get heated. I'm just going to let you know that from now. But once you hear the gavel, it's over. So I just want to know, just show of hands, how many times have you heard this over the last couple of years? Utah Jazz, top of the Western Conference. I mean, I know I've heard it. I know you lot at home have heard that, right? I mean, how many years have we heard those same statements? And as Mo shakes his head, I just need to know, why is your energy like that, first of all? Because I actually think this year it could be different. And it finally could be time. And all I'm going to say to you is Rudy Gobert, Western Conference Player of the Week. That's what I'm going to say. And I want to see your response as to this take. The Utah Jazz will actually make it happen this year, and it's finally their time.
First of all, Jaydee, the Conference Player of the Week award, I've seen Jordan Crawford win.
Oh, gosh.
an Eastern Conference Player of the Week award. Okay, let's not put too much stock into that, with all due respect. They say men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. But the numbers are lying here. Let's look at the Utah Jazz record. That's why we're having this conversation, right? Because they've got off to a hot start, they've got a great record. Let's look at who they played. They beat the Thunder. Okay. They beat the Kings. Okay. They beat the Nuggets, but Jokic only played 15 minutes and went off at halftime with an injury. Okay. They beat the Rockets, rebuilding team. Okay. They lost to the Bulls, who were the first good team they came up against. They beat the Milwaukee Bucks, who were without their 3 stars. Okay, cool. So what am I supposed to be impressed by here? What am I supposed to be impressed by? Rudy Gobert putting up double-doubles in a regular season. What's new? He could win Defense Player of the Year. What's new? Then what's going to happen in the playoffs when they come up against a team that goes small? They lost against the Clippers, who didn't even have Kawhi Leonard. They had Terrence Mann out here looking like a superstar. So what am I supposed to do? I mean, we're having this conversation again and again. We had this conversation last year. Pretty sure we had this conversation the year before. Okay, cool. The Utah Jazz are the Paul George of all the teams in the NBA.
Oh, gosh.
Great regular season.
Oh, gosh.
Show me it when it matters.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. Paul George, I apologise. Again, sometimes things just get out of hand on this show, so I apologise. But you can't deny the consistency. We saw them finish top of the Western Conference last year. Yes, you are correct in terms of the way they went out of the playoffs. But there's something different about this team. I'm watching the tenacity. There's a nastiness about them, especially in the defensive end of the ball. So I want to know, BJ, do you believe that they can actually turn it around this year and actually make all of those nearly or almost times in the playoffs and actually complete the job this time and say it's their time?
You know, Utah fans, you know, I got to give it to you how I see it. You know, there's regular season basketball, then there's postseason basketball. The Utah Jazz play a style that will really, you know, allow them to exceed during the regular season. They shoot the 3 extremely well. They have terrific players, especially their starting 5. They have a defensive presence in Rudy Gobert. However, when the game slows down and it gets organized, who are they going to throw the ball to below the free throw line and allow them to play a structured game when the game really slows down? And they can't count on the 3-point shots that's being made here during the regular season. That is the problem with the Utah Jazz. They look great during the regular season. They have a little depth. You know, Jordan Clarkson was terrific for them a year ago coming off the bench. They've added to that depth with Rudy Gay and some other players. But I'm not buying into the fact until I see them change their style of play, which may not allow them to win as many games during the regular season, but will allow them to play and give them the best opportunity to succeed in the postseason. So until that happens, which I don't see that happening in the first 7 or 8 games, I'm not going to buy into this. I don't think it's Utah's time. I think at some point they're going to have to make an adjustment in their style of play. And that's difficult because they've had so much regular season success.
Look, this is the hip-hop courtroom because every week I come in here and I give you a quote from one of my favourite artists. Again, I'm going to stick to Meek Mill because, as he says, the wins and them losses turns us into bosses. So I'm turning around and telling you right now, Ovie, those wins that the Utah Jazz have had in the regular season and also those losses they've had in the playoffs could galvanise them and turn them into finally doing it. But how do you feel?
You know what? I feel like Utah have a chance. I honestly do feel like they have a chance this year.
There we go. I like some energy.
And I say this,
got some energy in the courtroom right now.
You got to hear me out. You got to hear me out first. You know, on this show, we come on here and I think we've absolutely beat down the Eastern Conference in the past. But now I think we've seen a little bit of a flip-flop. We've seen a little bit of a change. at the moment, I see the East as being much stronger than the West. So as far as consistency goes, I think the Utah Jazz are one of the teams who have the most consistency. They obviously have that playoff experience they've lost, we know. However, there's just always, there's a lot going on in the West right now. And I don't think you can lock more than maybe 3-4 teams to guarantee them going into the playoffs. I honestly don't. So, just with that being the case, I think out in the West at the moment, anything can happen. Anything can honestly happen.
Just echoing a bit of what BJ said, is that they need to maybe change their style of play and maybe not win as many games in the regular season. That's what Milwaukee did. A few seasons ago, Milwaukee were the great regular season team, and they would crumble in the playoffs. And then when we saw them perform perhaps worse in the regular season last year, it ended up in a championship. My concern here about the playoffs, as great as Rudy Gobert is, because I don't want people to get it twisted, Rudy Gobert is a great defender in at the
Can we get that? Can we get that clipped up? Can we get that?
But when you look, but when you look at the path through the Western Conference, I know the Western Conference isn't as strong this season, but say you're going to match up against the Denver Nuggets. Nikola Jokic causes that man problems. Headaches. You're going to match up against the LA Lakers when they go into the playoffs and they go small with AD at the 5, and AD can space the floor, dragging Rudy Gobert out of that paint. That's a problem for them. Or even if, going up against the Phoenix Suns and the way that they play and their ability to hit mid-range shots and not so much pressure on the rim, then that's a problem for them as well. The Golden State Warriors, when they go super small as well, and you've got Rudy Gobert that's going to have to chase guys around screens, that's not happening. So that's the reason why, as great as he is in the regular season, especially because, as I've spoken about before in this show, their defense is structured for, him to block shots. I just don't see that working in the playoffs.
But let me.
Gavel has been dropped.
You got off light on that one. You got off light on that one.
Why do I have a feeling this won't be the last time that Utah is brought up this season? But for now, I'm actually going to switch my original statement and say that Utah have no chance of going further than they've been so far already.